Treasure Island, Episode 1, Part 3, The Black Spot. At about midday, I went to see the captain. He seemed both weak and excited. "Jim," he said, "every month I've given you a silver for a penny. You will bring me a little drink of rum now, won't you?" "The doctor," I began. He started to swear and then said, "What does the doctor know about life at sea? I've lived on rum, I tell you. Your doctor said himself one glass wouldn't hurt me. I'll give you a golden guinea for some, Jim." "I want what you owe my father, that's all," I said, for he had been very slow to pay us. "I'll get you one glass and no more." When I brought it to him, he took it quickly and drank it down. "Eh," he said, "that's better. How long do I have to lie here?" "A week at least," I said. "I can't do that," he cried. But he was too weak to get up, and he lay back for a while in silence. "Jim," he said, after a time, "it's my old sea chest they want. If I can't get away, you go to, you go to the doctor. Tell him to bring the magistrates here, to the Admiral Benbow, to get all of old Flint's crew, all of them that's left. I was Flint's first mate, and I'm the only one that knows the place. He gave it to me when he was dying. But don't tell the doctor, unless they get the black spot on me, or unless you see the black dog or the sailor with one leg." "But what is the black spot, Captain?" I asked. "That's a sort of warning, mate. If I get the black spot, it means they are coming to get me and what I've got. Keep your eyes open, Jim, and I'll give you half of everything, I promise you." What would I have done if everything had gone well? I do not know. But my poor father died quite suddenly that evening. All of the neighbors came to visit, and there was a lot to arrange. So I was too busy and upset to think of the captain. The following day, the captain came downstairs, ate a little, and got himself some rum. On the night before we buried my father, he was as drunk as ever. He sat at the table with his sword ready in front of him, singing his ugly old sea songs. But he was still very weak and seemed to be getting worse, not better. Several days later, on a cold, foggy afternoon, I was standing at the door, full of sad thoughts about my father. As I stood there, I saw someone coming slowly along the road. The man was blind. He was walking along, tapping his stick in front of him. He wore a cloth over his eyes and nose and was bent over. I had never in my life seen such a terrible-looking man. He stopped a little away from the inn, and he said in a loud voice, "Will any good man tell a poor blind man where he is?" "You are at the Admiral Benbow," I replied. "Give me your hand, young friend, and lead me in," he said. I held out my hand, and the horrible man held it hard. He pulled me up close to him and said, "Now, boy, take me into the captain." "Sir," I said, "I can't. The captain is not what he used to be. He sits with his sword ready." "Take me in, or I'll break your arm," he said, and pulled my arm roughly. It was the hardest, coldest voice I had ever heard. I was so frightened that I led him into the room where the captain was sitting. The poor captain lifted his head, and it was easy to see that he was very frightened. "Now, Bill, sit where you are," said the man. "Hold out your left hand, boy. Take his left hand and bring it near my right hand." We both did what we were told, and I saw him put something into the captain's hand, which quickly closed on it. The blind man suddenly went out of the door. I stood without moving and heard his stick go tap-tapping down the street. The captain looked down into his hand. "10 o'clock!" he cried. "I've got 6 hours!" he said, and tried to stand up, but he suddenly put his hand to his neck, and then, with a strange sound, fell face first onto the floor. I shouted to my mother, but it was too late. The captain was dead.